If I could go back in time, these are 5 things that I wish I would tell myself as of where I am right now, owning multiple businesses, generating multiple 8 figures online. These are 5 things I would tell my younger self to prioritize on for multiple different reasons. Now, this is really gonna make sense if you've watched the video that I recently did called The 3 Pillars to Success. If you haven't watched that video, I will pin it down below as well at the end of this video. I highly suggest that you check that video out because that video is a game changer and probably some of the most solid advice that's here on the channel. And if you watch that video and you watch this video, it's gonna make a lot of sense coming together. First and foremost is credit. Now, when I was growing up, I never had successful family members or parents. They didn't own businesses. They weren't entrepreneurs. They weren't, well off in life. They were middle class, lower middle class. So I didn't really know about credit. And I had a misconception about financial literacy and about credit. I thought that people used credit when they were like drowning and they needed a lifeline. Like, have a credit card so if you fall behind, you can use it. That way you can get ahead or you can pay for bills, so on and so forth. I did not know that credit was important for your business. I did not know that credit was important for homes, for vehicles, and that credit was essential to building true wealth. Today, I use about 80% credit across my personal and my business for multiple reasons. Number one, you have on some charge cards, you have 30 days where you can literally run up the entire bill on your business side and not pay any interest plus get points. So you're getting an additional 30 days to generate revenue. You're not paying any type of interest and you're getting points. When I go out to eat with my family, I literally do not pay for meals. When I travel, I do not pay for flights. And most hotels, I get upgrades for free just because of credit. I didn't know this when I was starting out. So that's the credit card side of things. But also, I didn't realize that you need credit to get like homes and vehicles and stuff like that. Like in reference to this car behind me, you can make $1 million a year. But if you do not have good credit, you're not gonna drive an exotic car, right? If you wanna buy a home, and unless you're paying for it cash, if you wanna use a financial institution, they wanna see a combination of credit and they wanna see that you're making money. So my issue was I was making a ton of money, but I didn't have credit, and I had to start building credit in my early 20s. If I could go back, I would start building credit at 18. So if you're 18 or you're young right now or you haven't been prioritizing credit, here's a few things you can do immediately to start developing credit. First and foremost, if you do not have a credit score, having no credit score is just as bad as having a bad credit score. You want to start with a secured credit card. The one I started with is Capital One. You can do a quick Google search. I'm sure there's tons of different ones on there, but Capital One has a really good secured credit card. The way secured credit cards work is you're going to literally fund it with your own money. You can start with a minimum of, I believe, around $250. And what happens is after 6 months of using your own capital as a line of credit, they're gonna go ahead and then increase that limit, number one, and then number two, give you a secured card. So once you get a secured card, that's when your credit is off to the race. So those 2 steps right there, it takes about 6 months, and you can do that as early as 18. Another step that I'll give you, if you guys are parents like me, I have a 13 and an 8-year-old, some credit cards will allow you to add minors as authorized users. Now, you're not gonna give an 8 or a 13-year-old your charge card, your credit card, and have them just spend money frivolously. However, if your financial institution or card carrier allows an authorized user as a minor, they can start developing and building credit. So my 8-year-old and my 13-year-old are literally building credit every single year. One of the most difficult credit factors to increase is the length of credit history. It's really difficult to manipulate that or grow that without having things like trade lines and having other authorized people add you to their account. And it takes time to have a great score for the length of your credit. It's like over 7 years, like 8 years, and that takes time. There's no way to really manipulate that other than getting authorized people to add you to your thing. So if you have kids, and let's say you have a 10-year-old and you add them to one of your credit cards, by the time they're 18, they already have great credit length. So they're already exponentially ahead of the curve so that when they go to start their credit, by the time they're out of high school, they could have it 800. It says that an 800 credit score has more purchasing power than $1 million cash. So that's one of the biggest things. Like, my family didn't know about credit. I grew up with this whole premise that if you can't afford it cash, you can't afford it not to use credit cards, which there is some truth to that. However, there's definitely some false context to that because now I use credit cards for everything. The biggest tip I can give you when it comes to credit cards is do not use credit cards for things that you can't afford or frivolous things that you wouldn't buy if you weren't buying for them cash. Use them for things that you need in your business and in your personal life, like maybe utility bills, gas, insurance, food. Pay them off. Make sure that you wipe off your card every single month, have low utilization, and make sure that you keep these accounts open by using small spins if you have multiple cards. This is definitely gonna help your credit out. The better your credit, the better rates you're gonna get when it comes to loans, when it comes to investing, so on and so forth. Number 2 is going to be fitness. Now, Some of you guys, like for me, I did do sports when I was growing up. I did soccer, I did basketball, I did cross country, but I only did them for like 2 years. My family wasn't hardcore into sports, so I didn't really have like a sports background. I wasn't into fitness. My parents were really into fitness. Looking at where I'm at now, being 32 years old and now literally like slowing my business down to prioritize on my health and happiness, I wish I would have started when I was 18, because if I would have started really going to the gym every single day and taking my health and my fitness seriously when I was 18, I would literally have 13, 14 plus years, consecutive years, building and growing my temple and my physique, which, you know, will increase how long you live, will increase your happiness, will increase tons of things, right? So don't wait till you make a ton of money and then like you're stressed out and you have high blood pressure and all these issues like I have. If you're watching this and you're younger, start prioritizing your health, start prioritizing your fitness. I had this huge misconception that I had to choose between growing my businesses and health or fitness. I thought that I couldn't be in the gym and be doing all this stuff and still grow all these super successful businesses. That was a self-limiting belief that I had. I have tons of friends that are in much better shape than me and are much more wealthy than me. So if I could go back, and you don't have to be shredded, you don't have to compete, you don't have to be like this crazy bodybuilder, but at least like go to the gym at least 3 to 5 times per week, do some cardio, lift some weights, and there's tons of health benefits to it. Especially understand your like hereditary traits, understand like what health complications you have with your family. If your family has high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or any type of health issues, when you're younger, identify what type of exercises and what you can do to combat that, right? That's a few things that I've been working on recently, and I wish I would have went back because I lost 10 to 12 years of doing that. All right, number 3 is reading. So I sucked at school. A lot of you guys who know me and you guys are, you know, big on the channel and follow me on social, you guys know I have a 9th grade education, don't have a GED or a high school diploma, no college degree, right? So one of the things I teach my children, especially my 13-year-old, is about the importance of reading books. I am a firm believer, and I have an extensive library at home, that the keys to the kingdom, and that some people, like intelligent, successful, and wealthy people's best kept secrets are inside of books, right? So look at biographies of some of the wealthiest people in the world, and they literally give you the keys to the kingdom. Read some books that are in specific niches or categories that you feel that you lack in or you need growth in. So I often tell people when I'm coaching at a high level and when I'm teaching at a high level that the easiest way to get to the next level at any area of your life or business is to identify very specific questions that you need to answer. If I could answer this question, would it move me to the next stage in my life or business? Now, once you identify those questions, reverse engineer it, find out who is the most successful in that field in the world, and get their book. Most time people say they don't have money for courses, they don't have money to go to college, they don't know any millionaire investor, people that they can talk to, but the chances are you can get an Audible for under 20 bucks. You could go buy a used book on Amazon for under 20 bucks, and you will be able to answer those questions. Now, for someone like that has ADD and like can't read a book from front cover to back cover, something that changed the game for me was identifying those specific questions, reverse engineering who's the industry expert and leader in that field, and then finding the chapter that answers that question. So when I read books, like I've read hundreds of books, but I haven't read hundreds of books from bio to end or conclusion. I literally find the books, I read the specific chapters that answer the questions that I need or that add context to the areas that I lack in, and that's how I literally get to the next level. So I pay my son, like if you guys are parents and you have children, dude, your kids are gonna wanna play Fortnite or video games or go out and play with friends or go to the movies over reading Think and Grow Rich or The Richest Man in Babylon. So what I do is I ethically bribe my children by paying them per book that they read, and there's no cap on that. So invest in your children, and what I feel is one of the best areas that you can invest in your children is investing in the books that they read. Also, if your children see that you're reading, they'll want to read as well, because one of the questions my younger son, who is 8 years old, said is, "Dad, why do you want me to read so much when I barely see you reading?" So he does it. One thing that I like to do is when it comes to reading time, I don't want it to feel like a punishment, so I'll put 30 minutes on the clock and we'll all read together. That's something that helped me, something that helped my children, hopefully helps you as well. All right, number 4 is I would have definitely prioritized traveling at an earlier age. So if you do not have your passport and you're watching this, regardless of your age, go get your passport. It's literally under $100. You can go to the post office and get one for like 20 bucks. When you get your passport, get the extended version. They're not gonna ask you, do you want the small one or the big one? Get the big book. It's the same price. It's a super big hack. You don't wanna have to go renew your passport. Get your passport and then literally start looking at trips a month, 2 months, 3 months, even 6 months out. That way you can save the most amount of yourself money. Sign up to deal websites, right? And you're gonna be able to get deals on different countries, different flights, different resorts, so on and so forth. Start traveling. For me, I wish I would have traveled a decade ago as much as I've traveled now. I've been to almost 50 countries now, and after literally becoming successful, making all this money, getting stressed out, I found out that one of the things that make me the most happiest in life is traveling and experiencing new cultures and seeing new countries. In that video that I referenced at the beginning of this video that is down below and will be at the end of this video, where I talk about the 3 phases of success, or the 3 pillars of success, I talk about once you create wealth, that now wealth goes from accumulation and creating more wealth to maintaining your wealth and then keeping yourself happy. And that true success is not a monetary value. It's not how much is in your bank account at the end of the day or at the end of your life. It's a combination of having enough money to live the life that you want, right? So once you identify what the life of your dreams is, or what things on planet Earth make you the happiest, you have to make enough money to be able to fulfill those things. That way you can work when you choose to and focus on the things that make you happy. For me, one of those things is traveling. If I didn't have my businesses working for me without me having to work in them physically in one location, I would not be able to travel. We're currently looking at properties in multiple different countries. And for me, my goal is to be able to maintain and sustainably grow our net worth while owning homes in different countries. That's something that makes me happy. I love to travel. I love different cultures. I don't think I could call one country home. So definitely get your passport. Definitely set a goal for new countries, new cultures, new experiences. There's a huge world out there with a ton to explore, a ton to learn. And who knows, this may be one of the things that genuinely makes you happy. All right, cool. Now I know that this list is kind of going all over the place, but this is a personal list for me. So this list may not be accurate for you. Maybe it's exactly spot on for what you need and it helps you out. But I want you to think about your future self. What does a successful you look like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now? Reverse engineer it and see what you're not doing right now that you can be doing. So for those of you who have been following my journey, been following me on social, been following me on the channel, you guys know that I'm an active real estate investor. We currently own 56 apartments, and I've been in real estate since 2015. I've flipped over a dozen homes. We have nearly 60 apartments, and we've done millions of dollars in real estate sales and acquisition. So one of the things that I wish I knew early on is, like, when me and my wife were hustling, when we were in our early 20s, a majority of our money was going to rent. So when you rent, you don't own anything. You're not there's no value to renting. Your money's going down the drain every single month. And if you're not like a 6-figure earner or a 7-figure earner, more than 30% of your income is probably going to your rent. I was always passionate about real estate, but I didn't know how to use debt. I didn't know how to leverage credit. I didn't know how to do financing. I didn't know about buying homes with no money down. I didn't know about creative financing or hard money or house hacking or none of these ways to acquire properties. So I just did it the caveman style. I worked on my business 24/7, 365 while I had a full-time job. I lived below my means in a crap dump apartment that was super cheap until I could start buying properties cash. If I could go back and tell myself what I would have done in between grinding, building my businesses and working, me and my wife, while growing the businesses and renting, I would have literally just went and got a loan for a duplex, a 2 to 4 unit building. So anything above a 4-unit building is going to be residential multifamily. If it's a residential multifamily, which is under a 4-unit, 1 to 4 unit, you can get what's called an FHA loan if you occupy one of those units as a primary residence. Why is that special? Because you can get an FHA loan with 3% down. So if you get a $100,000 duplex, and I'm just referencing round numbers so this makes sense and it's easy to follow. By the way, in Northwest Indiana, where I invest, typically you can get doors or apartments around $50,000, right? So if you get a duplex for $100,000, you have to put 3% down. That's roughly $3,000 down on a $100,000 mortgage. You can live below your means, live at a family member's house, and do whatever you need to do, like literally eat Spam, eggs, and rice for about 3 to 6 months and save $3,000. You get this duplex, you live in one unit, you and your family, you and your spouse, or you by yourself, and you rent the other side out. Now, the other tenant is going to not only pay their rent, but they're going to pay the mortgage that you have on this building. Now, why is this essential? Because instead of that 30% to 50% of your income going to rent, where you're not saving any money, you're not increasing your net worth, you're able to now put this money into your savings account where you can save that money and you can buy more assets, more real estate, or invest into your business. Now you're creating cash flow and you're restricting yourself. One of the biggest expenses that a lot of young people have, and that I had when I look back 10 years, 15 years, 20 years years was going out to eat, hanging out with friends, and literally my rent. So how can you reduce all of those expenses? Well, house hack, live for free, invite your friends to your house instead of going out and order takeout. Do that for a year and you'll be able to exponentially change your life. So that's something that I wish I would have known, because after 1 year of you living in that primary residence, after you rent one out and you're living in the primary residence, after 1 year, you can move out of that apartment and move a tenant in, right? And you can still maintain that low overhead mortgage under an FHA loan. Now, if you're an investor and you're not house hacking or living in this primary residence, you have to put 20% down. So to show you a comparison, on a $100,000 property, you have to have $20,000. That's a little bit more difficult to save up versus $3,000. So these are 5 strategies looking at where I am now, what I know now, and what I did wrong and what I wish I knew that I would have been able to do at 18 or in my early 20s that would have exponentially increased my net worth, allowed me to save more money and be more happy while being more healthy. Hey, if you got any value whatsoever in this video, please smash that like button. If you're returning to the channel or you're new to the channel, I appreciate you so much. Please smash that subscribe button. Next to it, click the notification bell. Every single week, we're dropping new videos for free where we don't sell you anything, that's helping you increase your income, your impact, and your influence. By the way, in just a second, you're gonna be seeing that video that I referenced about the 3 pillars to wealth, as well as another video that I think that you'll like. I'll see you in the next one.